Fairy-type Pokemon are some of my absolute favorites. So today, I'm going to try and shiny hunt every single fairy-type in Pokemon Violet in just 24 hours. Whilst this may sound like a simple challenge at first, just you wait until you hear the rules and see some of the targets we're going to be hunting. Because believe me, it's not going to be easy. Alright, so whilst there's only 26 unique fairy-types in Pokemon Violet, this goal is going to be a lot harder to achieve than you might think. Because unlike my other shiny hunting videos, I'm going to be banning both the use of Outbreaks and Herba Mystica shiny boosts. All we've got is the shiny charm and a rate of 1 in 1365. Oh, and to keep the pressure going on the entire time, for every hour that passes, I'll have to surprise trade away one of my personal shinies to someone random. And then if we fail to complete the challenge in 24 hours, not only will I be bumping it up to 2 shinies per hour, but I'll also be giving away an extra 10 shinies to a lucky subscriber. We have massive stakes here, with the potential to lose a ridiculous amount of shinies. So throw your Master Ball at that subscribe button to help me reach 100k, and let's get right into the hunt. Okay, so I wanted to start with a Pokemon who was notorious for being a struggle to get, and that would be Shiny Mimikyu. But before we started hunting, seeing as we'd have to go without the help of Outbreaks, we made a Ghost Encounter sandwich to isolate all the spawns in the Tag Tree Thicket to the Pikachu imposter. He's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and his shiny going completely grayscale is so cool. However, we've all seen how weird the lighting in this game can get sometimes, right? This is no exception, because when a regular Mimikyu is in the shade or under a tree, it looks incredibly close to the shiny. He's already quite a dull-colored Pokemon, so dimming him even more is just such a tease. You wouldn't believe the amount of times I got that hit of dopamine thinking I found the shiny. There were so many times I genuinely thought I found him, only to be disappointed to see that he still had color in him. 2.5 hours of deception went by, and my best advice to anyone looking for a shiny Mimikyu is to look at his red cheeks, because when I finally saw one in daylight lacking any color, I knew our first target had been found. What a great start with just such a cool shiny. However, seeing as over 2 hours went into that hunt, we've got 2 shiny Pokemon we got a surprise trade. Considering we're just blindly trading shinies, my one hope for this challenge is to get at least 1 shiny in return from someone else. Our first 2 shinies we're going to be losing is a Sneasel and a Gibble. So we shoot them off into different corners of the world and get a regular Sprigatito and a Dratini in return. Yeah, nothing crazy. Surely we'll get something of equal value eventually, right? Speaking of different corners of the world, how would you like to be virtually anywhere in the world with Surfshark VPN? Today's sponsor for the video. Surfshark VPN is an iconic and amazing service that can trick an unlimited amount of your devices into thinking you're in different parts of the world, as well as give you the most secure and protected online privacy. VPNs are amazing because they can help you unblock any restricted content in your country, which is perfect for people like me, because there's so much anime that I'm just unable to watch on streaming services like Netflix, thanks to living in Australia. However, with just a couple of clicks, I can virtually send myself to Japan and bang! I've got a totally different Netflix library. So why not give Surfshark a go? It's incredibly cheap and has a 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it. Plus, if you scan the QR code or use the link in the description and apply my promo code
Jayden,
you'll receive
3 free months when ordering the 2-year plan.
So you've got nothing to lose. Thanks Surfshark for the sponsor, and let's get back to the hunting. Alright, so target number 2 for this challenge was gonna be my longtime favorite family of Pokemon, the Ralts Evolution line. Such amazing Pokemon as is, but their shinies are literally perfect. The blue and orange is just like an unbeatable complementary color scheme, and it's time to get our hands on them. Now, seeing how much pressure we're under at the moment, the same rules apply as my other videos, where evolving a Pokemon will keep its previous evolutions ticked off the list. So basically, all we need is a single shiny Ralts to get her whole family completely checked off. Luckily, with Fairy Encounter boosts, this mountain will be chock full of Ralts clutters, meaning in just 30 minutes, we came across this perfection of a shiny. Anyone who doesn't rank this as an S tier is simply lying to themselves. Oh, and it turns out she's marked as well with a Dawn mark. Let's go. So I decided to name her Zelda because I am unhealthily addicted to Tears of the Kingdom right now. I literally clocked over 110 hours within the first 10 days of release, and I'm currently at like 150 hours, and I showed no signs of being remotely close to stopping, and it's actually just so perfect. I never want to put the game down anymore. Like, I'm actually so addicted. I cannot stop. I need help. Please help me. Zelda is taking over my life. Ah! Sorry. So we evolved her into a Curlier and then into a Gardevoir. And if it wasn't blatantly obvious, I love Gardevoir. Unfortunately, with the overlap of time from the previous hunt, another hour had passed, meaning I had to say goodbye to a shiny Bergmite and got an adorable Hisui and Zorua in return. Okay, that's actually a pretty good exchange. He's in my top 10 favorite Pokemon, so I'm happy. Speaking of adorable Pokemon, it was time to find the little mouse ball, Azurill. This one took forever. He has a really nice green shiny, and there's this one spot spot at the beginning of the game that can exclusively spawn them with encounter boosts. But he just didn't want to shine. I spent hours and hours going up and down this little creek with no luck, to the point where I started hallucinating these walls moving. Oh, wait, no, hold on, they are literally moving. What is this game, Pokemon? How is it so unpolished? I love it though. Yeah, this hunt just wasn't very fun at all. 6 hours. That's how long it took to find this little stupid thing. Now, I wouldn't be too mad if he was going to be the only one we find in this video, but that's not going to be the case. Anyways, I decided to name him Coke Bottle because I was looking at a Coke bottle while writing the script, and I was then forced to spend 5 years increasing its friendship to evolve them into a Marill and then into an Azumarill, who strangely changes from green to yellow. But let's be real, the yellow looks way better. Well, not only did that Azurill cost me 6 hours of my life, but it also cost me 6 shinies. So say goodbye to shiny Murkrow, Weasel, Venomoth, Jumpluff, Swablu, and Chansey, and say hello to all regular Lovedisc, Voltorb, Numel, Luxio, Wooper, and Mimikyu. Yeah, these trades are getting very painful very quickly. Thankfully, our next shiny wasn't too difficult to get, and that would be Tinkertink. Her evolution line is one of my favorites from Gen 9. They're all so cool, and there's actually a really easy way to spawn them in these ruins. Basically, standing in this specific spot with encounter boosts will make a large clutter of them spawn in the distance, and if there isn't a shiny, you go back, pull out a picnic to reset all the spawns, go check for a shiny, and repeat. And it only took us 15 minutes before we found the rusty clubbed baby. It's not a crazy shiny, but it's alright. So we named her Kirby and evolved it into Tinkertuff and then Tinkerton. Absolutely love this thing. Considering their weapon is the only thing that changes in the shiny, does that imply it's a part of their body and made of flesh? Thankfully, nothing needed to be traded away yet as well. Here's a little update on how we're going so far. Slightly over 9 hours into the challenge now, and we've still got plenty of scary hunts to go. So basically, we went from one painful hunt to a really easy hunt, and now we're going back to the pain. Seeing as this time, we're going to be going for one of the most unidentifiable shinies in all of Pokemon. Igglybuff. This shiny is stupidly subtle. Like, who is the man responsible for it looking like this? What's worse is I don't even think there's a single location that can exclusively spawn her, so here was the best place I could find. The problem is, seeing as she's the exact same typing as Azurill, they were both the spawns of this spot. And what was it I said not too long ago? Yeah, we found another green rat ball after 3 hours of hunting. Oh, and you're probably still wondering, how the hell am I even gonna know which Igglybuff is shiny? Thankfully though, the Let's Go Auto Battle feature refuses to let your Pokemon kill a shiny. So basically, we just have to slowly and manually kill every Igglybuff until my Iron Valiant refuses to fight. This was just such a boring and tedious mission. And I've still yet to mention the fact that when it rains in this game, the Igglybuff just gets sent into the stratosphere for no reason. Yes, it's absolutely hilarious, but oh my god, if that was the shiny that flew away, I would cry. So basically, I'd have to restart my game to change the weather every time it rained. Anyways, with over 4 hours passing since the second shiny Azurill, I finally witnessed my Pokemon saying no more to Igglybuff abuse, and came across this evil little shiny. Whilst I am so happy to finally see you, I'd absolutely love to just kick you as far as humanly possible. Let's name him Kickball, and just like Azurill, we needed to boost up his friendship to evolve him into a Jigglypuff, and then I used a Moonstone to turn him into a Wigglytuff. The worst wasn't even over yet, because it was now time to send off another 7 shinies. Farewell Shiny Murkrow number 2, Dreepy, Hoppip, Weasel number 2, Carkol, Dondozo, and Numel, and welcome to the party, Salandit, Tarantula, Froakie, Pelipper, Jigglypuff, Dedenne, and Gimmighoul. Not a single shiny in return yet. Speaking of Dedenne, he'd be the next shiny we were after. Thankfully, there's not too much to say on the topic because there's a super easy way to get them to spawn, and the brown rodent showed himself off in a mere 20 minutes. I've also never thought about this until now, but why is Dedenne a fairy type? He just looks like he'd be a base electric type. Let's name him Chocolate. And luckily for me, another short hunt followed when looking for Hatenna. Now, Hatenna isn't a fairy type, but Hatterene is. Such a strange Pokemon, but has super cool evolutions. And our shiny came up in roughly 25 minutes, which is really lucky considering we're not using outbreaks or sandwich boosts. So we then evolved her into Hatterem and then into a Hatterene, aka the abuser of the emotional. Nope, that is not a joke. You will actually be beaten if you show too much emotion near her. But it's an awesome Pokemon with a great shiny, so I can overlook the violence in her heart. It was also time to yeet away a shiny Nacli, and we got a Spoink. These trades are bringing me physical pain. Alright, it was time to spend some time in Alphanada. There's a surprising amount of fairy types that spawn there, meaning we can hunt multiple things at the same time. Basically, when using fairy encounter boosts, we'd be finding Klefki, Sylveon, Fido, and Dashbon all at the same time. And we came across our first shiny within just about an hour, the little red dog Fido. What's cool is that he was also marked with the uncommon mark. Such a great and lovable new Pokemon, who we leveled up so he could become a Dashbon, and in pretty much the same amount of time as the dog, we found the shiny golden keys. I was so worried about this one, seeing how small they are, and how I've spent many hours before failing to find one. But there we were, with already 3 of the 4 things we needed here found already. However, the last Pokemon could be quite an issue. Sylveon has no location in the game that can exclusively spawn her in all of Paldea, not including outbreaks. And what's worse is she spawns significantly less than all the other fairy types in Alphanada, so this could take us a long time. 4 hours went into looking for this evolution, and I was constantly worried about bumping into a shiny we already had or didn't need. However, Arceus must have been on our side, because we somehow managed to come across exactly who we needed. Yeah, this is a pretty common take, but Sylveon has without a doubt the best shiny of the evolutions, so it made finding it even more rewarding. Well, here goes another 6 shinies of mine. This time we lost to shiny Voltorb, Lechonk, Growlithe, Krogunk, Tarantula, and Stantler, and got all regular Espeon, Toxel, Meowscarada, Tarantula, Charmander, and Magikarp. I'm genuinely surprised we haven't got another shiny yet, considering the surplus of them in this game. And oh no, we've still got a few hunts to go, with only 1 hour remaining, until we cross 24 hours and have to trade 2 shinies per hour. Next on the list was the little gremlin Impidimp. Such a strange and very punchable Pokemon, but I absolutely love his evolutions. Oh, and their shinies are super cool and unique as well. To find the shiny Imp, we had to return to the Lag Tree, the Tag Tree Thicket, and basically just look for anything vibrant blue. With how many spawns he can easily get, he reared his head in a little under half an hour. So we evolved him into a Morgrem and then into a Grimmsnarl. Such a crazy looking Pokemon. And did you know that the black part of his body, or the white part on his shiny, is actually his hair? God, seeing this in real life would be a nightmare. I appropriately named him Yeti. Okay, we had one more hunt to go before we'd be searching for the smallest shiny Pokemon in the entire franchise. And to do so, we had to return to the place I said I never wanted to visit again anytime soon. Area 0. I have spent more time down here than any human should have to for that Area 0 video, but I think I can make an exception, seeing as our second last target would be my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon. It's the futuristic paradox form of Gardevoir and Gallade, Iron Valiant. Absolute peak design, and it was time for me to shiny hunt it again, for probably the 7th or 8th time now. Yeah, I've gotten a few of them before. Basically, all we've got to do is circle around this cave until we find the unpainted robot. This was probably my longest Iron Valiant hunt yet, but that's to be expected, considering we're not using any sparkling power boosts. It took us just over 3.5 hours before we spotted the Silver Valiant, and although I would have loved for the future Paradox Pokemon to retain their modern Pokemon shiny colors, just like the ancient Paradoxes, I still really like the completely metallic silver for Iron Valiant. So we called it to add another one to my collection, and seeing as we were now 27 hours into the challenge, we had to surprise trade 7 more Pokemon. 1 for hitting the 24th hour, and another 6, seeing as I said we'd be doubling the damage for every hour beyond that. Come on, surely I get 1 shiny from someone else. Are there any good people left in this world? So I gave up a shiny 2-segment Dunsparce, a Gravid, Pawmi, Lockix, Iron Treads, a 3rd Sneasel, and a Pawmot, with a return of completely non-shinies. Them being Phanpy, Combee, Chewtle, Swalot, Lechonk, Bronzor, and a Hoppip. These lucky winners better cherish those shinies forever. Alright, it was time for the final hunt, and one I'd been dreading ever since I came up with the idea for this video. It would be a hunt that could literally be titled The Hunt for the Smallest Pokemon of All Time. The culprit? Flabebe. This will be the final fairy type shiny we need, and nope, there is no Pokemon smaller than this thing. And what makes it even crazier is the fact that the shiny isn't even on the flower. You know, the most noticeable thing about the Pokemon. The only thing that changes is the eyes and the bottom half of its belly. In simple words, it is extremely hard to spot. If you've played Scarlet and Violet, chances are you've accidentally bumped into hundreds of Flabebe without even seeing them, because I know I have. So, after everything I just said, I don't even think you could ever be mentally prepared to hear the results of this mission. It was easy as piss. No, I'm not even kidding. This was actually easier than half the hunts in this video. Let me explain. So there's this one spot around where you fight the Titan Bombardier, and pretty much all you need to do is stand in this one very specific spot with fairy encounter boosts, and like 10 to 15 Flabebe will instantly spawn ahead of you. So you go up to them, whip out your camera for a much needed closer look at them all for the shiny check. If there's nothing there, you go back to the spot, set up a picnic to reset the spawns, and repeat, just like Tinkertink. Yeah, I really didn't expect this to be such a breeze, and yet we came across the shiny Flabebe in less than 10 minutes. No joke, it was actually mind-blowingly easy. Getting the yellow flower version of it was really cool as well, because after evolving it into a Floette, I got my very first yellow shiny Florges, who was also just a fantastic top tier shiny. And there we have it! We managed to get every single fairy type in Pokemon Violet in their shiny form in just over 27 hours. And don't forget about Surfshark. Click the link in the description and use my promo code to get started with Surfshark today. And thank you all so much for watching.